me go ahead and get this set up right here. And the spectator for the blue team is Asgard Okami here. And for the red team, we have Frosty Nation. Both of these teams are from the Sharrix division. It's one of the upper divisions of Valiant Giants League. And we see the early Kronos ban followed up by Hebwa ban here. So a little bit surprised to see Kronos banned early. Must mean someone on the other team plays them often. Then we're going to see the Soul ban and the Freya ban come through. And I'm a little bit surprised by this with the nerf to Mage ADCs. While it was slight, it seems like those are predominantly the ones you want to take off the board. So it really comes down to who wants to ban the Oleron, or is anybody going to? Is it a bait into picking Oleron is the question. And really and truly, I think you have to decide, do you want to ban it or do you want to pick it? And the great part is for Asgard Okami here, they can choose not to ban Oleron, ban something else that they don't want to deal with, and then it forces Frost Nation into that. But instead, they go ahead and ban their third magical ADC here. They go ahead and take away this Oleron. And that's every magical ADC off the board early here. A little bit surprising to see. But overall, they have been strong throughout Season 10 so far. So not necessarily a bad idea going into this first game here. And the last ban here is going to be a Tiamat. All magical damage taken off the board from the Rift here. Again, this is played on the newest patch. This game was played last night. So those magical items have been nerfed. We did see Book of Toth nerfed. We saw Tablet nerfed. We saw Telekines and so forth. So a little bit surprising. What's not surprising, though, is the top hunter in the game, Rama, being locked in first here for Asgard Okami. Going to be feeling pretty good. I've played him a few times. Has great clear and is able to, be scary on his own when it comes to dealing with objectives. So now we just kind of wait it out here. See the Merlin picked up here. Another just meta mage right now that we've seen picked up quite a bit. Usually we see a lot of Merlin or Tiamat. So we'll have to see where we go from there. I'm assuming... I don't know. Do you go ahead and take a tank here? I think you might. Unless there's a priority jungle you want. But right now, a lot of jungles open. You're not really forced to take that. You know the magical ADCs are off the board. So you really just have to debate what is the most important for you to take here that you want, but you also don't want them to have. And they go ahead and lock in the Cuckoo lane for their solo. And that's going to feel pretty good. So now we have the next two picks for Asgard Okami coming up here. And they know what the solo is going to be. We could see a solo pick up here. But their solo may want to see a little bit more what's on the table here. So we'll have to see, do they go ahead and decide to go and pick up their solo that counter picks now? Or do they want to wait for a little bit later to do so? And there's the Thor along with Yamoja here. So they get their support. Yamoja, a great pick. Really, no matter what. Yamoja's just kind of good, even though they've nerfed her a ton of times. Has she fallen off a little bit? Yeah, a little bit. But not like too much. And especially with the jungle corridors now, I think her ult does a ton. Thor, a great pick here. You don't know if that's jungle or solo, so it has a nice flex potential. And really sets up Asgard Okami for a nice second ban phase and really second pick phase here. Is now Frosty Nation has to decide what's the thing that needs to be picked now that we don't want to see banned and we absolutely want to get into the current comp here. When you see Rama and Thor locked in, it makes you think, maybe I want to go ahead and grab my jungler that's going to be able to compete with Thor, just in case. And no, it's going to be a lock-in of Ishtar here. Another good pick. A great carry pick as far as hunters go. You have to think Rama, Ishtar, really some of the top hunters. We've seen a lot of Kernanos as well as far as when it comes to hunters. And after that, it just kind of falls off a cliff, some would say, because we really haven't seen too many hunters picked in the meta beyond those three. I've seen a little bit of Hachiman, I guess I should say. Agni banned out. Another mage banned away. And finally, we get our first physical damage dealer banned away here, and it's gonna be the Ravana, which is another good ban. I mean, the good thing about Ravana and what he wants to do is he has that CC immunity in his kit. He's able to dive you. He really is able to do a lot. And if you know their jungler is particularly good with him, then, get rid of it. Now we see the Guan Yu banned away. Kind of surprised to see Guan Yu fall this far without getting banned or picked. Guan Yu has been pretty dominant in the solo lane as far as a god that puts out a good amount of damage, but also does a great job healing your team. So we see him get banned away, not fall too far to the wayside to be able to get picked up here. But what will Asgard Okami ban next is the question, and it's going to be a Fenrir. Another great jungle pick here that they do not want to deal with. And this gives Frosty Nation their next pick, and whatever they want, they can take at this point. They have their carries. They have their solo. They're really looking for a support jungle here. I have a feeling they might go support and save their jungle to fully counterpick as much as possible. Plus, they might want to see, where's that Thor going? It's a great question at the moment. We did see Assassins get a little bit of a nerf in this patch with their class passive. And I don't think I necessarily expect to see 2 Assassins in either comp. But they do go ahead and hover the Sasano here. Is that their plan to lock in? They do lock it in. Sasano does a lot. He does a lot of being everywhere. You know, he has a great knock-up and chase down. So, good pick here. I think he's going to be able to dive Rama really, really well. And that's kind of huge. It really makes you think about what do you want to pick here in the mid lane, you know, because the Sasano can come there pretty much rent-free at the beginning of the game. And you want something with some safety, and they go ahead and hover Yu Huang and a Vamana pick here. A little bit surprised to see Vamana if it gets locked in. The question is, that, and the crazy part is, Vamana could still go jungle here if they want to flex the Thor, so that is something to watch out for. I do expect it to be Vamana solo, but that does have the potential of still flex picking. And now, this Yu Huang, very, very safe pick. Allows you to kind of get out of everything you want with the get out of jail fly away card. And then, on top of that, puts out good damage. So, something to watch out for is this Yu Huang in the mid lane. But they're still hovering and discussing these 2 picks, debating on what they want to do here. I do think they take the Yu Huang. I think they're probably discussing if they want to take this Vamana pick more than anything. And they decide that they're going to take both. Curious to see this Vamana picked up here. I'm a Vamana fan because I want him to be good. He just usually isn't. But I do like him in this comp. I think he does a lot of disruption, especially when you have the Emoja ult on your side. You have the Thor walls. You have good CC, so you don't need the requirement of your solo bringing the CC as well. And he's going to be able to do a lot of chase down and slowing people down. So I like the idea of Vamana in this comp. We'll see how he ends up playing out this game. But now the last pick for Frosty Nation here. They have to decide what is the support they want into this comp. What's going to feel good? And there's a lot on the table right now as far as supports go. You have Bacchus. You have Sylvanas. You have Athena. You have the Weimer. And instead they go for the Ganesh. And say, hey, we're just going to silence you out. That is the picks and bans for game number 1. Asgard Okami versus Frosty Nation. Let's hop on in and see how it goes in game number 1. Alrighty, waiting for the last couple people to load in before I start organizing teams up here, but we can go ahead and get Frosty Nation going. It looks like they're all loaded in first. There we go. And we'll have to see, do the mid laners decide that they want to rush tablet here? Do they want to rush book? What is their plans with these slight changes that are made to those items? It is, like, I believe, a pretty significant damage nerf once you get to late game. But early game, they did slow it down a good bit for both those items. We'll have to see what's picked up here. We do see Bluestone picked up for jungle solo for Frosty Nation. It's going to be feeling pretty good here. This is a constant thing we've been seeing in Season 10 so far, is the use of Bluestone in the jungle is yet to kind of fall by the wayside. And we see Vamana picking up the Warding Sigil. It's going to be feeling pretty good for Diego here. I just have to say, the thing I'm most curious about leading into this is the start here. What's the plan for the pull here? I've seen a lot of debate, conjecture, some would say, about how they want to deal with the green buff now that it puts out an HP 5 buff that heals the other camps. We see Might stepping up here, checking out the green buff, looking to see where the start is, and that, you know, go ahead and getting vision on the fact that it's gonna be the Ishtar and Ganesh going for the 3 camp pull here. So Ghostman, Letter, myself, going to say, hey, we're going to pull all 3 camps at the same time. We have Asgard Okami here with Inside and Might deciding, hey, we're going to do the 2 camp pull. And we'll just have to see how this pans out on their way to getting the lane. On the right side of the map, it's your typical start. Nothing new over there. But it does. We'll see who gets the lane first, how it pans out for both of these teams. So far looking pretty good for Asgard Okami. The real question is Frosty Nation going to be able to clear this as fast as they wanted to? They already have most of the back camps down. The green buff is down. Letter to myself is eating half the HP, though. That does not feel particularly great. But they do get those buffs cleared, and it's looking like they might arrive around the same time. The only difference is the amount of health for the supports. And Might shows up with full health, while Letter to myself shows up with half. Good stun to start it off in the duo lane here. And something to watch out for, this has been something we've seen a little bit towards the beginning of, you know, some games here, is the jungle like going for that level 2 gank in solo. Sometimes it pans out, sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, that's okay. Lose out on a smidge of farm. But the next gank usually comes over to this duo lane. To see if that's what ends up happening here. As 12 gauge is moving that way on this Thor. And that could be absolutely destructive to the duo lane. Letter to myself, not in a healthy state still. Now at about a 3rd HP, 12 gauge, waiting for them to step up, or waiting to see if Ressology shows up anywhere to get a gank off. Hovering here, still waiting. You know, they're waiting. The thing is, 12 gauge doesn't know he's on a ward there, unfortunately. And now there goes the pull of the camps. Going to go ahead and get the Gorp going. And they'll come over and make sure they grab that. Ressology, you know, saw the ping of the Thor on the ward, and now they're going to be able to go to these left side camps and either bait them or pick them up. They decide to wait a little bit, and now it gives Asgard Okami a chance to come in. Unfortunately, for 12 gauge, not going to fall his way from the looks of it. And now just clearing off here in mid. But over on the left side, this duo lanes are still just going at it. But Letter to myself still in low HP here, just not having a chance to really step out and get the health going. You know, finally got those health pots ticking back on the tower while 12 gauge was waiting, really just trying to get to full health to be able to feel a little bit better about the situation. Well, we'll go see how the soul laners are doing, duking it out over here. As iRisk and Diego just keep bippity-bopping it over here, just like soul laners like to do, you know. Stacking the player damage early on when they can, but now 12 gauge made the rotation. The wall is there to cut off the path, but it doesn't do any good. iRisk is going in, and Ressology is here to try to follow up. Unfortunately, there's not going to be any follow-up to be had, as the tower is just pushed all the way in. And here we go. There's the blue buff pull. Can 12 gauge secure this blue buff? Diego makes the rotation in, and now that it's a fight for the blue buff, Diego is able to confirm it, is able to get it, but now at a 3rd HP is fighting for his life. A great pull there by Ressology, but it's not enough to get the kill. And now they will have to run away as Vectors rotates in from the mid lane, looking to see if some type of damage can be taken here, but unfortunately nothing is left, but that's okay. You don't worry too much about not being able to get the damage off, as long as you're able to save your solo laner there, or you know, save anybody if possible. And now Ressology is fighting 12 gauge. I don't know if you knew iRisk is there. Hammer's out. There's no rotation in by anybody else, but here comes Diego. Diego looking to box a little bit with iRisk, is not afraid at all. It gets a great slow off, and now just chipping away at Risk's health. A lot of fighting going on over here in the solo lane. So we head back over to duo side. Letter to myself was looking to see if they get a purple buff steal here. Unfortunately, it did not go their way. But you know what? This is the first time we've been over in this lane that Letter to myself has full HP. So we're going to take that as a dub. We do have backs for tier 2 items. Have been coming online. I don't really expect these carries to back unless their health pools get really, really low. They're really just waiting to be able to buy their first item here. And both of them appear to be going the Aussie route. Pretty standard. As Diego gets the solo kill on iRisk. Had to go into the big baby, but holy. I was able just to turn that around. We did see Diego chipping away slowly but surely at that health earlier on. It seems to have paid off as it picks up the first blood about 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Has to be feeling pretty good if you're Asgard Okami that you're able to get a kill early on for your solo laner. And yeah, that shield, absolute insanity how large that shield was. I'm not sure that's okay or how I feel about it. I guess we'll find out more about that shield as the game goes on because that was ludicrous. If I go over and I gank and I see a shield that big, I'm literally just walking away. Or if it's a team fight, I'm just throwing up the deuces and walking out. There's no way I want anything to do with that shield. And now, you know, iRisk still pushing this lane. Says, hey, I don't care about the first blood. I'm just going to keep pushing your lane as much as I can. Oh, hey, your blue buff spawning. I plan on being there too. And Diego seems pretty content on letting this blue buff go, which is kind of surprising. 12 gauge here for the invade on the red buff. And Scuzzy is walking up. Scuzzy level 8. I mean, Might and 12 gauge. Not the same level here now. Will 12 gauge each damage? No, Scuzzy gets some damage off now. 12 gauge a little bit in trouble, but I think it's going to be okay with the healing of Might. Scuzzy is the one now having to run around and do the dance. And here it comes Rushology with the ult. The Dharmic Pillars even better by 12. Or sorry, by Letter to himself picks up 12. And now Vector's rotating in to get some damage off. Scuzzy still dancing around. The dancing shoes are put on. Is able to live and pick up a kill on Might. And what seems like should have went in favor of Asgard Okami just goes in the favor of Frosty Nation. Scuzzy had to be putting some type of crazy shoes on there. And I don't know if it was the juke shoes, the dance shoes, whichever it was. The dancing around in that corridor has to feel pretty good when you're a Merlin. And your flicker is down and you get to live. Because I know if I'm in that situation, I'm not getting out. This is going to be a bad, bad time. We do see a difference here for the supports. We have, you know, Might going the route of Prophetic Cloak, while Letter to myself is picking up the Gauntlet of Thebes. And along with that, we do see the difference in the mid laners. We have the Yu Huang Vectors going for that book, while Scuzzy on this Merlin just says, hey, I want the tablet. And that's a dangerous time when your game gets casted, okay? Because here's the deal. We know if you hit abilities. Tablet is the ultimate caster item. Because we know. But look at this rotation now by Frosty Nation. Forcing Endside in the sky, and Endside's gonna come down. It's not gonna be pretty. Taken off the map. 12 gauge. Now the next one to be looked at. Might rotating in, trying to separate this out, not allow them to push any further. But Rushology is not to be dissuaded here. Chases up, decides to let it go. Really good play there by Frost Nation. Great rotation in. Just making sure they're gonna be able to pick up that kill and more if it allows to happen. Isn't what happens, but they pushed up to see, could we get something else? Is there more to be had? The answer is no, but I like the 4-man rotation to make sure they're a secure 1, and if something else falls their way, so be it. Even though Frost Nation does have the kill lead, though, Asgard Okami does have the minuscule 300 gold lead. Not much to talk about, but something to make note of as Scuzzy does pick up the red buff. Oh, maybe not. No, does pick up the red buff this time. That was a scary time. I feel like almost Caster just cursed that, and that would have been very sad on my part. Now we have the 2v2 in mid. These, everybody's pretty even at this point. Very, very slight XP leads across the board for different parts of each team. I mean, literally minuscule. We're talking like maybe quarter of a level. Nothing impactful as of yet. As we have one carry and Ghostman deciding to go early on into crit here. And Enside says, nah, I'm going to go ahead and pick up either Xy or Kins, and we'll have to see which it's going to be. But the slight differences in these builds here have been interesting thus far. Still 4 stacks on that tablet, though. We'll keep track of when that gets to full stacks, as Vectors does get a lot of damage. And now Rushology gonna dive into this, and Vectors gets a great ult off, but the Dharmic Pillars are good, and Vectors is somehow still standing in Merlin damage and gets to live as Letter to Myself dies in the tower. Now 12 gauge on the other side of this is attacking Scuzzy, looking for the kill. The wall is good, but oh, the flicker is better. 12 gauge doesn't get to secure the kill there, and Scuzzy gets to live again on this Merlin. Rushology holding the corner here, looking, waiting, seeing if there's anything that can be picked up as Enside rotates older. The 1 snipe is good, 2 is not, 3 is not as well. Scuzzy still gets to live. Whatever kind of shoes Scuzzy has, I need to purchase, because holy, the amount of luck that are in those shoes is insane. Over on the solo side, we still have the Soul Inners, you know, beeping and bopping and booping against each other as normal, but on the left side of the map, the duo laners are going at each other. There's the Ishtar ult, the blades come through, the stun's there, but it's not enough to pick up the kill. Ghostman, now level 11, has opened up a lead on Enside here. Enside did make that rotation mid, looking to help out, try to pick up a kill, and it just did not go the way of Enside, and now it's going to pay in dividends for Frosty Nation by their carry having a lead. Just an all-out brawl there for about a minute or two. And we are going to see what is the next items going to be picked up here, as Ghostman does make the back, should be picking up the crit item. It's going to be Rage, if I had to guess, and it is. And then on the other side of this, it's like, okay, well, what is Enside going to pick up when Enside gets the back? Still looking for that farm, wants to try to catch up on some of what it was lost. And now it looks like, by the way, Vector's probably going tablet as well here. Not too far, words are hard. Not too far behind stacks, as, you know, Scuzzy, only 12 stacks so far on that tablet. Is doing a good job of stacking it, though. We saw 4 last time we checked earlier. It's up to 12. Feeling pretty good. There's the tablet for Vectors as well. I'm curious to see who's going to build Divine Ruin first. Because I feel like you might want that, just a smidgen, later on in the game. But look at this, Enside steps up, Rushology is there, Rushology, there's the blink, thus going for the chase down, and lets it go, decides it's not worth it. Rushology playing it safe, backs up, didn't want to get too aggressive, they didn't have vision of the Thor, they didn't have vision of the Yemoja, and a smart play there to not let that happen. I do like this posturing, though, by Frosty Nation. They're looking and saying, hey, you know, we want to be able to get a Gold Fury, but in order to do that, we need to get the pick. And so far, there's just nothing there to let that happen. If we rotate over, Enside was able to get a good bit of that XP back that was lost by that mid lane rotation. Still behind, but not too far behind. But look at the position here by Frost Nation. There's 4 people around this Gold Fury. I'm not sure if they know Enside backed. I don't know if they care. They're going to go ahead and pull the Gold Fury, and it looks like Asgard Okami is none the wiser here, as the Dharmic Pillars plus the Merlin Flames are just going to put this away, and Frosty Nation just sneaks away a Gold Fury out of nowhere, and that's just an unfortunate timing there for Asgard Okami. It looked like they were going to be able to play around that a little bit, and unfortunately that's not the case. Enside steps up to the Gorp, but I'm not sure that was worth it either. The blades come through, the stun wasn't there because the beads from Enside, but then Rushology comes in and puts him down. Enside now 0-2, just wanted the shield, man. Is not going to be able to get it. Now is going to pay the price of the purple buff too. We were curious what that T1 Lightblade was going to be. It did become a kin size. So again, just a little bit of different building there for the carries of each team. But 1 Rage stack now online for Ghostman, and that's become pretty impactful. If that Rage gets stacked quickly, it's going to be a bad time for the Asgard Okami carry. Looking at other items built, we do see the Spirit Robe for Letter to Myself. You know, Soul Gem now online for Scuzzy is going to be feeling pretty good. Then building into that cooldown for Merlin. Both junglers building the exact same way currently. And then solo side, we do see the Kukulane said, hey, I want a Prophetic Cloak. I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. and then we'll kind of see how that goes with that Glad Shield. You know, Vamana building more attack speed, wants that Berserker Shield, so nothing too crazy so far happening. Been pretty calm. There's been a lot of fighting, but not a lot of kills for as much fighting as there's been. Especially Scuzzy. Scuzzy now 1-0-2 because of whatever shoes Scuzzy has on are just absolute insanity. Good wards placed out there, not wanting to get ganked over in the duo side. Something we've seen very, very often when playing the carry role, or if you're watching a lot of carries play, is they do get ganked more often on this map because there's just more room for the junglers to rotate around. And speaking of that, look at this. Inside's up in the air, but 12 gauge drops down and puts down the hammer. But it doesn't matter. Russology comes and turns it around, and they not only get one, but they get two. 12 gauge ends up falling there, but now Russology is in trouble. The dueling dragons come out. They pick it up. Vectors turns around some of the fight. It's a 1-for-2. Now Ghostman is in trouble, but Diego's made the rotation. Big Baby is popped. Look at the shield. It's there. Puts down Ghostman. Might looking to help the team as much as possible. Also just in dangerous health pool levels. And now Scuzzy is being looked at here by Diego, getting chased down. The flames just not doing enough damage. And Scuzzy having to retreat here has led her to myself, trying to still poke away and secure the rogue Cyclops, but that doesn't happen. Diego picks up a ward here, and now Diego says, if you're going to pull the purple buff, I'm going to step up and look for the damage on it, and picks up the purple, does get the steal. Scuzzy lazy backing or taunt backing, whichever you want it to be, against Diego, and that's a scary time. Diego says, if you're going to do that, I will stay here. I can afford to eat the damage, but can I afford Russology making the rotation? I can, because 12 gauge is here, and now Diego, one man against four, but now there goes 12 gauge up in the air. They're looking for Russology. Ghostman gets a kill, but Russology falls too, but now 12 gauge in trouble on the Dharmic Pillars, because Ghostman gets a great lockdown, and now it's a 1-for-2 situation again. Can Asgard Okami even it out? The bubbles are coming through, but they're not enough. Lever to myself gets to live for some unknown reason, and Ghostman looking to trade with Inside Vectors and Might almost takes down one, but ends up taking down none. And Scuzzy on the backside decides to step up with little to no HP, has to Aegis and walk away. What a mad lad Scuzzy is to even think about stepping up there. Holy, these fights are just absolutely insane. We do see Oni Fury is coming up. Risk is over there. And I assume Frosty Nation is looking to pull this Gold Fury again as quickly as possible. Might is in the know of it and decides, hey, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to stand around this Gold Fury. And whatever happened last time is not going to happen this time. We will know if you decide to step up. And again, if you're talking about the gold leads at this point, it's minuscule for Frosty Nation. It's 500 gold. It's not a lot to talk about. It's not even anything to write home about. These teams are practically even at 17 minutes. The only difference is a smidge of XP, except for a jungle. Jungle, there is a jungle gap right now in XP. But other than that, it's pretty smooth sailing across the board. You know, Russology does have a lead. He's been able to farm a lot better. Look at that. Risk goes in with the blink, and now 12 gauge up in the air. Who is he going to dunk on is the question. Ensnide was up in the air. 12 gauge goes in. He's looking to put someone down, but instead they turn on him. He has to get out. He has to hammer away. Letter to myself in trouble here. Does have to back out. The dueling dragons come through by Vector. Vector is looking for a kill. Can it be secured? Letter to myself is still running away. Inside picks up a kill. Diego picks up a kill. This is going Asgard Okami's way for the first time in this game, and Inside picks up another kill to get on the board and even out the KD. And now Asgard Okami will take away this Oni Fury for absolute free, as a 3-0 victory in their favor in that fight, and a Gold Fury is what they needed.
Your team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
The good news about that is Gage did get a level back there, so is going to be able to get some of that XP back. And then we do see Diego has opened up a pretty good lead in solo. So you're trading out 2 levels on one side for 2 levels on the other. But other than that, even pretty much across the board, Inside did get a lot from that last fight. again, not going the crit option here on this Rama, deciding to go attack speed, pin, and just looking for the yellow numbies. And that is going pretty well so far, as it's 3-3 and 0. But Ghostman has made quite the impact on this Ishtar by going 2-3 and 4. Do want to mention that both supports have picked up sprint, and we do see a Phantom Shell for Letter to Myself to deal with that River's Rebuke. Doesn't want to have to deal with the walls to be held in for the team. So things to think about as we go forward. I do have to say, though, Vectors, who built Tablet a whole item later than Scuzzy, is only 5 stacks behind. And that has to feel kind of bad. Scuzzy should hope to, you know, get that item fully stacked ahead of time. But again, this is the problem when you build Tablet. All right, we know. And now just a little bit of fight breaking out. 4v4 on the right side of the map. The carries boxing as like it's solo lane over there. And, you know, the typical new age of Smite. And now we just kind of wait it out. You know, the Fire Giant Dance probably coming in the nearest future. I had to guess in like the next 5 minutes or so. Other than that, everything pretty similar across the board. We do see a Karen's coin picked up here for Scuzzy. Both mids have Soul Gem now, though. And now look at 12 gauge goes up. Goes the dunk on Ghostman. Ghostman gets a fantastic dash to avoid it. And now the Anvil was not able to connect, but Letter to Myself puts down a great Dharmic Pillars. Might is deleted, and Snide has to go up into the air to try to get the snipes off. Does put down Rustology, but then Ghostman picks up another kill. 12 gauge running for his life. Diego decides to rotate in. They know he's there. They're going to try to rotate him on him, but I don't know that they're going to actually be able to catch him. Vectors is stepping up just to make sure the solo laner is able to get out. Do they decide to engage with Risk is the question. They do secure the vision there, and now they have to just walk away as Diego is pathing back towards Frosty Nation. Diego is insanity right now. I did not know if that's the pathing I take back, but I do have to say Ensnide is making drastic changes from the early game here, is able to now do a lot in these fights, is doing quite well here. Diego just absolutely being a menace, just walks into 4 people, takes like maybe an 1/8 of his life, and then just walks away on Vamana. You know, Warding Sigil, Prophetic Cloak, Oni Hunter's Garb, we're going to be feeling pretty good with the mitigations here, and Diego looking to kind of troll around these fights, do what Yormalt likes to do and disrupt, except you don't have to, you know, use your ultimate for that. Diego could and get that shield going, but props to the Vamana here. Wasn't really sure how this was going to pan out, but it's going pretty well so far. And now we'll see our first Fire Giant pull of the game. Asgard Okami is the one that has pulled it. What will they do with this opportunity? They do try to bait a fight out of it. Risk takes about 1/3 of his life and has to walk away on this Kuka lane. So it's really dependent on what does Asgard Okami want to do here. Diego finally getting poked out a little bit on the right-hand side, though. Those crits from Rage and Deathbringer ringing true from Ghostman. And now another Fire Giant pull is in the midst. Diego going to look at the wave? I don't know if I like the split here for Asgard Okami. Frosty Nation looking to take advantage of it. They go on Might. Might in trouble. Might put against a wall and put down with the Dharmic Pillars. That's a big ultimate use, but you get to pick on the support. I think that's feeling pretty good to make sure you don't have to deal with the River's Rebuke there. Diego does teleport back in by the red buff and pushes up a wave at mid. And all of Frosty Nation are now responding to this. All 5 chasing after the Vamana. You're not going to catch him. He's too far away. 12 gauge gets an excellent hammer before eating more damage than intended. But look at this. Diego just, again, trolling around on this Vamana. had all 5 members of Frosty Nation chasing him down. There's the blink in by Russology. They're looking for Ensnide. Are they going to find a great damage in? But a better Aegis, and 12H comes in, puts down Russology. This is something that Asgard Okami needed as the Gold Fury goes down in favor of Frosty Nation. Can they pick more off the back of this? They're going for Risk. Risk, put down. Double kill for 12 Gauge, and now they're looking for more. Diego looking for the next target on this Vamana. Who is he going to find? The answer is no one. The call should be Fire Giant, but will it be? You see 4 of the members rotating. Diego making sure to have vision on the rest of Frosty Nation as they all march down to Fire Giant. Scuzzy on the way in. Ghostman there as well, looking at Diego. What is their plan? And it's going to be Fire Giant for Asgard Okami. Diego making the way there, leading Frosty Nation slowly but surely to that side for maybe another picked off fight. But Diego still above half health here against a crit Hunter and this Merlin. Finally ults into big baby form. Look at the ult ticking up and ticking away. Asgard Okami looking to secure the Fire Giant. Letter to himself is looking to do something. I believe Dharmic Pillars is down. It goes in favor of Frosty Nation. He stole it away on the Ganesha. And now you have everybody in Asgard Okami needing to retreat inside, pass into them. Ghostman in trouble here. 1 snipe's good, 2 snipes are good, but Ghostman heals up immediately. They put down Vectors, and now Inside has to run away. I'm still amazed that he dodged rolled in there. But a huge pickup by Letter to myself with the Dharmic Pillars to secure the Fire Giant. And now they're going to push down this mid tower and maybe look for more here. Diego looking to try to dissuade this pursuit, but it's not going to dissuade anybody. They want the tier 2, and they will fight for it. Tier 2 gone. And now, what else are they going to go for? Rushology, crazy play. They put Diego down. The man that was able to take no damage for so long is just eaten away, and they're looking for more. They want a Phoenix on this push, and they will get it. Inside trying to poke away, isn't able to do so. 12 Gauge poking out too, but is just not able to get any significant damage off. And Frosty Nation going from having a bad fight over at Gold Fury after securing it to stealing away a Fire Giant and then picking up not only a tier 1, a tier 2, and a Phoenix. Pushes the game in their favor. Now a 7,000 gold lead for Frosty Nation. But look at this position by Asgard Okami. They decide to push up some of right lane. They want to dissuade any more tier 2 pushes as long as they can. And Frosty Nation's going to let that happen. They're going to back for items. They're going to get full builds online here. Full 6 slotted builds. I mean, maybe not have starter items upgraded, but that's completely fine. They want to make sure they're getting things finalized. They're getting the last items fixed up that they can. Looks like we do have Ghostman full build. Curious to see, does he decide to sell the Death Toll here? We'll see how that goes. Probably, if I had to guess, pick up another crit item or pick up a Dominance. We do see Inside go for the Silver Branch Bow and now is going for crit, so I'm assuming that Death Toll will go away. And now the tier 1 in duo side will finally go in favor of Asgard Okami. They do make sure to pick up the Bastions, get that extra gold during that time. But look at this, Vectors fighting with Rushology in the mid lane. Vectors is on the losing end of that fight, and Rushology eats some of the damage. 12 Gauge going up. Can 12 Gauge pick up the kill here, or will he go for it? The hammer is off the mark. Oh my goodness, Rushology blinks out. Vector's in trouble here. Risk puts him down. And now on the right side too, Frosty Nation poking away at this Phoenix. It is now a 5 versus 3, and Asgard Okami is surely going to lose this Phoenix here if Frosty Nation just attack it, and they do. Diego does turn around a kill, though, and this is problematic for Frosty Nation. You lose 1 off that push. You cannot afford to lose another, I wouldn't think, as now Inside getting aggressive again. Dashes in against Risk. Diego going to clear the mid wave, and now Might and Inside are still chasing out the right side of the map. But now they need to get these lanes pushed up and try to make an attempt at Pyromancer here. But it looks like Frosty Nation have already decided that's the call that they're going to make. And Pyromancer should go in favor of Frosty Nation here, and will. They just absolutely melt that down. And this is where Asgard Okami do have to play a little bit careful here. They have to figure out how they're going to push out these lanes. They need to get wards up. They need to be able to fight over this next fire if possible. or at least figure out a way to mount a good defense. And we do see Ghostman go ahead and sell the Death Toll, looking to build the dominance that I mentioned earlier. You do see the stacks here on tablet. You know, I think we're at... Are we at 50? Looks like it's at 50, I believe. There, which is huge. Or it's 30, I can't tell. Looks like a 50, so we're going to go with it. This Merlin does have Divine. In fact, both mid laners have Divine. Shoutouts to them. They built Divine. Shoutouts to the mid laners. The ones that see the Divine, they build it. I like that. And other than that, you know, we see pretty similar builds here for the junglers. We do see a Brawler's Beat Stick picked up here for Rasology, wanting to deal with that healing that Yamoja brings. And then Kukulane finishing off a lot of that build with Spirit Robe, Bunny Hunter's Garb. Again, looking at those mitigations for both of the solos here is going to be pretty good. And you have to give it to Asgard Okami. They are mounting a pretty good Fire Giant defense here against Frosty Nation. I'm really surprised that Frosty Nation have waited so long to attempt at least a pull of it. Not only do they have the pressure of the lanes, but they also have the Pyromancer Bomb. They could choose to pick a fight, and Diego steps on the wrong side of the lane in the jungle and is now going to have to ult and get chased out. Frosty Nation get one ultimate taken away from Asgard Okami. Will that be enough to have them attack the Fire Giant? They are still waiting, and finally they decide to make a pull. They're now having Risk just dance around out in front of it, you know, trying to make sure they don't let anybody in here. Vectors, oh my god, Vectors hits Rasology for half his health. Diego's there. He has to ult, trying to do something here, but Rasology is in trouble. Frosty Nation may have stepped too far forward with that defense. Rasology running away and somehow gets out by the hairs of the chinny chin chin. And now inside looking for something against Ghostman. 12 gauge jumps in. They pick off the Ghostman and has to immediately disengage. Diego still hovering around here, looking to back and to probably teleport in if I had to guess. Inside, looking for a kill. Hits all three snipes on Scuzzy, but it's just not enough. Scuzzy continues to just be unkillable on this Merlin. And now there's our right lane of fire minions pushing up, and someone has to back for it. Diego steps forward really far here, though, looking to chase down the members of Frosty Nation. Again, Diego just wanting to run it. Everybody on the enemy team literally sees red and runs at it. This is absolutely insanity on this Vamana, just being able to step up, and really, we've only seen Diego be punished harshly one time for stepping up that far, and that's pretty crazy. And now it's Asgard Okami with the positioning around the Fire Giant, looking to see is there a way that they could go ahead and pull it, because their right-hand Phoenixes came back up. Might getting poked out here. Oh, Might eating a ton of damage from Rasology. It's a full commit onto the support. And Rasology picks up another kill, playing fantastically on this Susano. Now Diego might have stepped up too far finally, is looking to be punished, but no. 12 gauge hits a good wall there, allows it to get out. Vector steps up, looking to try to get a good amount of CC off, and maybe some damage too. And now Frost Nation will pull this Fire Giant again. Rasology is hanging out here with Risk, waiting for someone to step up on the wrong side. It's going to be Inside that steps up in the wrong place. Aegis goes off. It will look like it saved his life, but no. Risk puts him down. Fire Giant goes in favor of Frosty Nation, and that's not just fire, that's enhanced, and all 5 members got it. Vectors hung around for a bit. Diego's back. Are they going to be able to do anything against all 5 members of Frosty Nation with enhanced fire? Might is back up, and Shosha the River's Rebuke, and here we go. It's going to be all 5 members of Frosty Nation looking at the right side Phoenix here. What can Asgard Okami do to keep this alive? And there it is. A great Rivers holds in Ghostman, but there's not a lot of damage on the back side of it. Oh my goodness, Rushology falls to Vectors. Great damage there, though. And now Diego's going in, the big baby, chasing down Ghostman, chasing down Scuzzy. But there's the Dharmic Pillars by Letter to Myself, and it's in trouble. Diego has to leave. Got the damage that could be happening there. Great sprint pop there for the root. And now Ghostman almost falls. It's a great shell to keep him alive. And Ghostman has to retreat. If you step up again on this Ishtar, you will be put away. And what an absolute insane defense there by Asgard Okami. Started off as a 2v5 in the jungle, turned to a 3v5. A great Rivers Rebuke by Might. Turned it around, and Asgard Okami says, you can have Enhanced Fire, you can have the 7K gold lead, but we will defend yet again. Now Pyromancer is being pulled here by Frosty Nation, and they will secure it. Not much to keep them from doing so. And on the other side, Inside has said, hey, I am going to pull Primal. Let's go ahead and get this gold here. Let's get some of the gold back that we're behind. And get the buff. Let's make it happen. And see what we can do. But keep an eye at what Frosty Nation has. They have 2 runic bombs, and these could go a long way when you go to siege a structure. You drop those, that's 2,000 damage. I mean, it's gonna go a long way. We do see a contagion finally picked up here for iRisk, and then on the other side of it, we see Spectral, which you're gonna want against this Ishtar with double crit items, and also the Sigil of the Old Guard is picked up here for this Vamana. Again, I'm pretty impressed with this Vamana play. Wasn't really sure I was going to go, but it's really panned off well for Diego. I still have to think that the amount of crazy plays by Scuzzy here to live and not fall down 34 minutes in the game in mid lane is pretty insane. The tier 2 under assault now by Frosty Nation. They don't have fire anymore, though. Brosology makes a great play. That's the beads off 12 gauge. They're looking for the damage, and Inside says, no, I'll put you down instead. But 12 gauge gets stuck on the dormant pillars and put down. No way. Might in trouble. Might gets to leave. Ghostman, hello? Put down. And now this is a turn for Asgard Okami. This fight is going all sorts of in their favor. The Dueling Dragons off the mark. And here we go. Can Asgard Okami pick up more? It's a 2-4-1. Scuzzy looking to live yet again. Diego says, I think it's your time to go to the gray screen, but is it going to happen? Can Diego finish off this kill? There's the shell. Diego still chasing this out. Letter to Myself does not want to let the mid laner fall. Letter to Myself will die instead. Diego still chasing this Merlin, who seems to just get away every single time and will get away yet again. Risk is the next target for Asgard Okami. Taking down Risk will finally even out the kills, but Scuzzy just comes back in, almost picks up Vectors. Vectors can't be there anymore. Might have to leave. And Might needs to get some healing, but instead they're just going to back. Fire is spawning soon. And what a great play by Asgard Okami. Really just a great defense there on the left side. 4 for 1. I almost said 4 for 9. 4 for 1. Has really turned this around. Just great plays across the board here. Both supports 0, 4, and 15. When do you ever get to see that? Kind of crazy. Diego, man. Diego just doesn't care how many people are on the enemy team. Oh my god, 12 gauge puts down Rushology and follow that up. A great Rivers Rebuke. Ghostman's gone. Scuzzy is not going to make it out this time. Scuzzy takes the first spill. 36 minutes and 50 seconds into the game, this Merlin will finally fall, and this could be devastating for Frosty Nation. Yes, they have tier 2s up in every lane, but Enhanced Fire is now going in favor of Asgard Okami unless Letter to Myself can pull off some madness. And there it is. But no, it goes in favor of Asgard Okami. No Miracle Steel to keep Frosty Nation for having that buff again. Now Diego in the mid lane fighting with Risk and just going to go take the tier 2. The right tier 2 is the next on the menu for Asgard Okami as they stand here and they wait for one of their tanks to walk under. And there it is. That tier 2 will just simply fall as Enhanced Fire Giant strips away to those protections. And again, here it comes. The Phoenix Siege, but now it's Asgard Okami sieging instead. It's Frosty Nation having to defend, and can they do it? Dueling Dragons off the mark. iRisk is getting poked out. What a great Riptide! Might is insane, but somehow Risk gets to live for just a second as Vectors picks him up. Rissology now in trouble, went for the dive. Vectors picks up a double, and they're looking for more. This could be the game for Asgard Okami if they can find a way to take down this next Phoenix and get another pick. Ghostman has stepped up. Vectors hits the damage. There's the wall by 12 gauge. Diego says, hey, I'm just going to keep fighting. Don't worry about me. And now the left side is the next thing for Asgard Okami to take. Are they going to go ahead and push the tower? I'm not so sure, as Oni Fury is up on the map.
Your Titan is under attack.
There it is. The Titan of Frosty Nation is under attack, and this has got flipped upside down, and all in favor of Asgard Okami now. The gold lead is theirs. They have the Phoenixes down. They're going for tier 2. Everything has changed in their favor. The momentum is on their side, and they are going to push down this left side tier 2 and probably look for more. They will actually go for the safe play here. They're going to go ahead and strip away some jungle, strip away some camps, and then go ahead and back. And where is Diego? Diego's taking Pyromancer. Just doing Diego things. And really, I gotta know. Yeah, that's what I figured. Rissology over here, dude, just popping off in the player numbers, dude. This Asano is kind of going crazy. Kind of going crazy. And Diego out here fighting everybody and has 39k damage is kind of wild. Just throwing it out there. Asgard Okami fully grouped up together, using the Riptides to transport themselves across the map the fastest way possible. And is probably going to look for a pick on this left-hand side. They do have the Oni minions pushing up the left side here. 12 gauge is up here just waiting for the rest of the team to arrive. And now it's going to be the siege of the left side. But now it's a full 5v5. How will this play out? Will Asgard Okami be able to get a pick? Another great Riptide and followed by a great wall into Ghostman. But there's the River's Rebuke. What's going to happen? There's the Dharmic Pillars. Risk went in, but Might's in trouble. Might's getting absolutely shredded. The Phoenix is still up. Brushology gets a great ult, followed by Scuzzy's damage. Now Diego's like, hey, we got to get something out of this. We have to get this Phoenix. Ends up picking up. Vectors hits a huge Dueling Dragons there. And now, can Asgard Okami turn this around? Can they get a pick in their favor is the question. And it looks like Frosty Nation will get to go back, regen their health. It is a 4v5. Fire Giant is coming up soon. And Asgard Okami is going to go back and look to take it again. But this time they are a member down. It's 12 gauge that has fallen. Down for 30 seconds here. Diego's going to back. Make sure that everything they have is needed. And now, can they do it again? But this time, 4 versus 5. Are they going to be able to take the Fire Giant or find a way to get a pick? Letter Myself steps up. There's the silent. Scuzzy hits a disgusting amount of damage onto Vectors. Rissology steps up, and they're looking for Inside. Inside has to use the relics. He gets put down. This is a scary time for Asgard Okami as their damage dealers are no longer up. And now Frosty Nation is going to step up. They're going to look for this Fire Giant. But Diego, the madman, is going down mid lane with a Fire Giant wave, and he is pushing into the Titan room as there's also a Fire Giant wave pushing the left-hand side. Diego is going to take the right side Phoenix. They're not going to get to keep their Phoenixes or get to bring them back up. He is going to make sure they're going to pay in dividends for taking the Fire Giant. And now another Fire Giant wave is pushing in to the Titan room. Diego just didn't get one Phoenix. He is standing around. He is looking to possibly go for a second, and he knows the members are coming. They are looking to put this Vamana down. A great pull. There's Diego Diego ulting the big baby. He has stalled them. He has kept them back for long enough to get his team up. He will not fall here, will he? He does finally fall, but on the other side, 12 Gauge picks up a kill with might, and they are making them pay for this Fire Giant pull. The Titan is getting absolutely obliterated by Fire Giant minions, and now they have to defend their Titan. They can't step up too far because they only have one Phoenix up. There's no way to regen the health. If they don't play the defense, all it takes is 12 Gauge and maybe inside with some snipes to put down the Titan. This is scary. Primal Fury is up. I'm assuming Asgard Okami is going to take that away. It's just free gold at this point. It's also a free buff for the camps that they can take. Diego is 30 seconds away, and everything is in favor of Asgard Okami at this point after a fantastic play by Diego. Probably one of the most insane solo plays I have seen. I will say I am surprised that Asgard Okami didn't decide to try to force an in there. I think they might have been able to. But they're going to play passively. They're going to make sure to, you know, not overstep, not fumble the ball and have things go against them. They've already had to play at a deficit. They've already had to climb their way back in. But now is the time to put the pedal to the metal. They're looking for this Pyromancer. That Runic Bomb would go a long way to ending this Titan's life. Because if I had to guess, the Titan doesn't have much HP. If it gets hit with a Runic Bomb plus like a couple autos from inside, I think it might just go down. You know what I'm saying? So we'll have to see what they decide to do here. Diego is running straight towards the mid lane. And is looking for that mid lane Phoenix. The left side Phoenix will be coming up soon, but, you know, Frosty Nation still doing with right side fire minions. And here's the question. The bird respawns, but can Frosty Nation get it to where all three of their Phoenixes are up so they can regen this Titan's health? And the answer, I think, is probably no. But here we go. Asgard Okami looking to put into this game that Frosty Nation has played very, very well up into that Fire Giant pull. Everything, you know, they've played pretty well the whole game. Now, here we go. Here's the pull on the Phoenix on the left side. 12 Gauge in the mid lane, a 4-1 split. And now they're looking to see, can they get this bird down? Asgard Okami looking for the aggression. Rustology puts down 12 Gauge. Oh my god. And the 4-for-1 turns into a 5 defense here. And instead, Asgard Okami now have to back off. There's nothing for them to proclaim. And that is super unfortunate for Asgard Okami. This may allow the right side bird, or I guess the left side bird for Frosty Nation, the right side bird to the us and Spectator, to come back up, and that's going to allow that Titan to regen its health, and it's literally at a few autos from death. So that is not particularly good for Asgard Okami. The good news is Fire Giant's coming back up, and I don't know that Frosty Nation can like play super aggressive for this at the moment. Are they going to? Possibly, but 12 Gauge is up in about 20 seconds, so they do have to be a little bit careful here. But look at this positioning. Diego, they're looking to cut off Rustology. There's the root. Rustology's in trouble. The beads, it doesn't matter. They pick up a kill, and this is huge for Asgard Okami. The Phoenix does respawn. The health is regenerating. There's the River's Rebuke to cut off the damage onto Diego. Diego's still in trouble. The Divined, or Dharmic Pillars, comes through, and here it is. Asgard Okami in a 4v4. 12 Gauge is still making the way back here, but now Asgard Okami says that's fine. We have the advantage here. We're going to go for Fire Giant. 12 Gauge is on the way, and if 12 Gauge makes the way into the fight, this should be pretty much their game. Diego making sure to zone here. Fire Giant at about 25%. 12 Gauge is here. 12 Gauge looking for a good wall, a good pick. Goes up into the air. Fire Giant goes in favor of Asgard Okami. The dunk on the Ghost Man. Goodbye to the Ishtar. There's the beads, Aegis, and now looking for more. Diego chasing out the Merlin. iRisk is in trouble here. Had to risk too much to be able to live. And can anybody hit an auto on this man? Oh my god, lives forever in a day, but Diego is chasing down Scuzzy and fighting him under the Phoenix. I think Diego might finally pay for his life another time after going so long with just eating damage and living through it all. Ends up falling. Not a great trade there. And here we go. It's a 4v3, one Phoenix down. Inside, doing some strange pathing while his team fights, but that's just the way of the road sometimes. Rosology throws out the ultimate, isn't able to confirm it. Now inside, looking for the snipes. Can he land something? No. Rosology gets to live. And now it's a 4v3. Might is putting out the hills like nobody's business, looking to try to keep his team healthy. Scuzzy looking for great damage and finds it on the inside, but then flickers in and dies for it. And letter to myself, decides to step up, but it doesn't matter. It's now become a 4v2, and it's a scary, scary time for Frosty Nation. Their closest spawn is 8 seconds away with this Ishtar, but another Phoenix will fall. The Titan is going to be stuck here at the 80% health mark, and now it's going to be a third Phoenix being aggressed upon. Can Ghostman help with the defense? The Phoenix is gone. The blades come out. They don't connect. Ghostman is in trouble, eats a ton of damage. Vectors dueling dragons aren't doing much. And Asgard Okami backs off again after all 3 Phoenixes are down, and they have the man advantage. They decide to back off and go for the Oni Fury. I'm assuming they're going to wait for Diego here, and Diego will be up soon. And they're going to back. They're going to walk up with the Oni fires here, which will be pretty good. A little bit surprised they didn't go ahead and decide to stay out, but they go ahead and, you know, make sure they're capped off on potions and all that good stuff. So, slow and steady wins the race. Diego. Diego, what are we doing? What are we doing? Diego really wanted that speed buff, y'all. That's what I've learned in this situation. Diego will teleport in, I'm assuming, on the right ward there. But Oni fires are pushing the lanes here. And now we're going to see the 4-1 split again. This time, it's going to be Diego for the one-side split. And Diego steps up on the right side, is pushing Oni fires in. Oni fires coming on the left side too. If Asgard wanted a moment, it is now. Scuzzy eats a ton of damage. And now 12 gauge is up in the air. Where does he dunk? Oh my god, inside, put down by Scuzzy and Rosology combo there. And 12 gauge says, hey, I'm gonna do this cool thing where I ult in the air and slam down the Titan and end the game because I don't want to be here anymore. And that's fair. I feel that. Asgard Okami, come away after just an absolute slobber knocker of fights in a 50-minute game for game number 1. And we'll be heading into game number 2 here shortly. But what a game. What a game here. I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel. I can tell you this. I've been there. Because 12 gauge is in chat saying, Blaze just nailing how I felt. Yeah, I've been there, dog. I'm like, just get me out. Let me end this game real quick. And, yeah. Yeah. Shout outs to the supports this game. 04 and 25, 04 and 20. I think both supports really, really played great for their teams. Rosology super cracked on the Sasano. I'm not sure that gets through again. Scuzzy, whatever this man has on the shoes of Merlin, I wants to know, because the dipping, dodging, and weaving was on point. Really, Diego, that was the play on Fire Giant is probably one of the most insane plays I've ever seen a solo make in that situation. That just absolute insanity.
Welcome to the fun frenzy.
Yo, thank you for the sub, Asmar. I appreciate that, man. 10 straight months. Let's go. Inside. I'm impressed, dude. Not going crit till late. I like this. I'm gonna try this build later. I'm gonna ignore the missed autos on I Risk though in that back harpy pit. I'm gonna ignore that. But looking at the stats here, great wards from both teams. Great wards. really, I mean, I think both teams played that really well. If you're in a 50-minute game, you can't say that one team played poorly. I think both teams played really well. Obviously, different aspects of the game played well to each team, but honestly, I mean, great game by both teams. Let's head into game number 2. Give me a second to set up and to let my voice rest momentarily, just because I'm solo casting tonight, which is something new. Well, not really new. I just haven't solo casted in a hot minute. I usually lately I've been casting with Vengeance or somebody else. So it's been nice not having to solo cast all the time. I did contact a few casters and they're all busy tonight. Tomorrow we'll be back. We have 2 casts tomorrow. We have Collegiate Smite. I'll be casting Collegiate Smite with Vengeance, and then I will be casting the second set with UW Lost Souls and UW Shinigami solo as well. So keep an eye out for those. I'll be after I play in Albion Giants League tomorrow night. I am going to take just a smidge break, and I'll be back in like a minute. All right, y'all, let's hop into game number 2. 2. Oh my goodness, the teams are on the same side, and I don't even have to switch the spectator stuff around. Oh my goodness, this is beautiful. I love this. All right, same 2 bands as last game. We have Kronos, Hibwa, Soul. All right. Tiamat. All right, that's a different order at least, I think. No, it's actually... Yeah, it's the same order as last time. All Magicals bands. Weird times, y'all. There's the Freya band this time. We got a hype train going? What the heck?
Welcome
Let's go.
to the fun frenzy.
Yo, Mike, thank you for the sub, dude. I appreciate that. Hype train popped, and I was like, what is going on? I didn't catch all that. That's wild. Thank you. I do appreciate it. And a Yu Huang band. Didn't want to have to see the Yu Huang again. I respect that, dude. I have to say, Vector's missed a couple Dueling Dragons, but he hit Rushology with this nasty 2, and that was wild.
Bills, man.
Yo, thank you for the biddies, Embright. I appreciate that. Choo choo. Let's go, baby. I'm curious to see, are we going to see the same sort of carry picks here, or are we going to switch it up a little bit? I'm assuming, I mean, I like the Rama for inside. I don't know if Ishtar felt as good for Ghostman. I wonder if that gets changed up a little bit here. We'll have to see how the first pick lines up here. But pretty similar bands from last game. Again, all mages for the first 6 bands, which is just wild to me. And Vector says, you're going to ban my Yu Huang? Oh, never mind. Oh, no. Is Gage going to be okay? That's my question, because y'all didn't ban Ganesha, and that was the man's problem. So we'll see how this goes. Vector's locking in the Thor here. I'm assuming that's going to go jungle again. And 12 Gage played Thor really, really well there. It's an unfortunate time when you ult in and they have that silence, or they have like a commit to you. I think we've all been there if you've played Thor and you've dunked and then they just have the CC ready. It's an unfortunate time. But the one thing you have to think that 12 Gauge did really, really well that game is every time he did that, they traded somebody out almost. So, and he did in the game with Thor Dunk, and that feels good. Hot take, they should have gave Thor the basketball skin and had him dunk the basketball as, you know, the Thor hammer from his ult rather than Odin, but that's just me. Frosty Nation, locking in the emoji here, taking one out of the page of Asgard Okami. Yamoja, very, very good pick here. Like I said, I think River's Rebuke does a lot in the new jungle, and really the Riptides from Might last time were just really, really good. You can't give him that again. You just can't. Then gonna lock in the Merlin again here for Scuzzy. And last game, Merlin was just really, really good for Scuzzy. Great, great pick here. Rama is going to be the pick again here for Inside, it looks like. Going to hover that for now. But the question is, what else do they want here? Do they want to pick a mid laner? Do they want to go ahead and grab one of their tanks? And they are going to lock in this Vamana again, and I don't think that's a bad idea. I like this 3. Diego really, really was just kind of built different that whole entire game. Some would even say goated. I really, really just like the Vamana play. I mentioned during game number 1 that the one thing I always like to see is when, you know, someone play really, really well in Vamana, because I think he's such an underrated and slept upon god that when he pops off, it's kind of cool to see. And Diego did that last game by just being an absolute distraction. And now Achilles locked in here, and this is one of the things that have been bothering a lot of people in Season 10 is the amount of executes that we've been seeing. You see Achilles with an execute, you have Thanatos with an execute, you have Ao Kuang with an execute. All 3 of those gods you see quite often in games, and we see the Achilles this time around. We'll have to see if iRisk has some success on this and is able to kind of run it down with these executes with this Achilles. I'm not sure how I feel about that pick as of right now. I'll see the rest of the draft pans out, but we'll see. Maybe it's jungle. That's another thing too. It could be a flex pick. Asgard Okami goes heads and bans the Ravana again. And honestly, good ban. I mentioned this last game. Everything about Ravana, he's hard to lock down. He's annoying to deal with out of the jungle, especially if you don't have a mid laner that can get out. Yu Huang now banned away. Seems like a good idea. And now the Baba Yaga and Ganesha are banned out by Frosty Nation. If you haven't been playing Baba Yaga is good in the mid, y'all. She's just good. She stacks things for free. She does lots of damage. She gets a huge shield when she ults. She's just hard to deal with. If she has a good team comp around her that allows her to just kind of free cast, or even if you have a dive comp and she can dive with them, it's a scary time to be against a Baba Yaga. So I respect that. And there's the respect ban for Rushology, banning away the Sasano. And I like that ban. I think that had to happen. Not that, you know, their Frosty Nation runs away with the game if they get Sasano, but I think Rushology was really, really feeling themselves on this Sasano, and to get that off the table is a really smart idea. Now, the pick here by Frosty Nation is Jingwei. And I just don't know. I just don't know if I like the Jingwei pick or not. We'll have to see what this last pick's like. But I like Jingwei. I don't think Jingwei felt particularly great in Season 9. I think she feels kind of okay in Season 10 because of the way the map's designed. But we'll have to see how she does in the team fights, is kind of where I'm leaning towards right now. We do see the Agni hovered, and along with the Maui. Maui ends up not being the pick here, and it's going to be Ymir. Ooh, I like this. Agni and Ymir. Big picks here. You got the Agni bombs that do a lot of damage. Going to be doing a lot of, you know... This is good setup, dude. Agni puts out the bombs, has the stun, has everything you want out of a mid laner. Definitely, easily, one of the top 5 mids in the game right now. And then you pick up Ymir. Ymir, not someone we're seeing a ton of. But hear me out. Ymir can block Jingwei dash. Ymir can block Achilles execute. Ymir can block off River's rebuke. I think Ymir goes burr in this game. And that's a scary time. But we do have one last pick here for Frosty Nation. And they need a jungle or solo. I'm pretty sure this Achilles is going solo, so I'm assuming they need a jungle here. I'm not going to be surprised if they pick up something like a Pele. I don't think they would go Ao Kuang. I think that's not going to be great. They go a Hunbats, which is one of the gods I was, going to talk about momentarily, but that is what they pick in. I think that's a good pick. You get the nice, CC chain off your ultimate. You put out some good damage. You're able to leap over the Ymir wall. You're able to leap over the Thor wall. If you can get your ult off and you can fear no evil the enemy team, it's going to feel pretty good. But with that being said, let's head in to game number 2 of Asgard Okami versus Frosty Nation. Again, this is the Albion Giants League Sharrix Conference. I believe it's week 3. So keep an eye out for that as we head into game number 2 here. And let's get everybody loaded in and moved into their correct spots on the item screen and have a good time. If you don't know who I am Blaze McBain. I cast from Albion Giants League from time to time. I participated in So You Think You Can Cast last year. I run solo production and casting here on my channel. And sometimes you'll hear me with other casters. Tomorrow night I'll be casting with TIH Vengeance. The man, the myth, the legend. He won So You Think You Can Cast Chair 1. He's also just helped develop a lot of casters over the years. Great guy, great talent. Come check that out tomorrow night as we cast Marshall versus ASU after my Albion Giants League set tomorrow night. So probably about 9 Easterns. Hopefully we'll want to get that started. We'll see how that pans out. Might be a little bit later. And after that set, I'll be casting UW Shinigami versus UW Lost Souls solo. So you can check both those out tomorrow night if you want to watch some more Smite content as we go about. Let's see if any changes to the starts happen here, though. During game number 1, we saw some different strats here for the start. I talked a little bit about, some things I've noticed. Frosty Nation went for the 3-camp pull. Asgard Okami went for the 2-camp pull. I think you have to really think about the HP 5 buff to this green camp and it healing the other camps. I think you have to take that in mind. Unless you have something with a ton of clear, I think pulling all 3 camps at one time is extremely risky. In last game, we saw that. We saw Letter to Myself show up to lane with only half health, while Asgard Okami showed up with full health, and I think that's something you have to be aware of here. We'll see how that goes. I'm also curious to see, does Rossology go for the early gank over in solo or not? And we'll just have to see how this all pans out at the beginning of this game.
Minions have spawned.
And again, it looks like Frosty Nation did learn from the mistakes of the first game. They are only going to pull 2 camps this time. And it's going to be the green and the back camp, just like Asgard Okami. And we'll see if they get there around the same time like they did last game. Last game, they did get to lane around the same exact time. We do see the same type of idea here out of all the people playing. The only difference is iRisk is going with an axe instead of bluestone this game. Other than that, it's pretty much same starts across the board. We see Horn Shards picked up here for jungle and mid for Asgard Okami, which I do like to see. That, that cooldown does feel pretty good. You can do some silly things with it. And then you have the Wing Shard picked up for Diego. And he was zoomy last game. I expect him to be zoomy again this game. So keep an eye out for all of that. I do find it interesting that they used some of their shards real early there to clear the camps, because that's something I've tested, but it is not always seen when we're playing these games, as Vectors is getting poked out here by Scuzzy. But I think you wait till about level 5, maybe that story changes, as 12 gauge is pathing towards mid here. I'm not sure if he knows Russology is behind him. There's the wall, but Scuzzy does a backstep and flickers over it, dude. Scuzzy is cracked on this Merlin. Oh my god, dude. That backstep was sick. Diego in a little bit of trouble over here in the soul lane. Ends up getting some of his healing going. Ends up backing off. Gets to heal back a little bit, but was kind of low there for a minute. Getting kind of pushed out here by iRisk. And now there's going to be a fight over the right side. Harpies here. And look at 12 gauge pathing here. They want Scuzzy. They say, we're not letting you go 36 minutes without dying this game. 2 minutes in and Scuzzy's already down. Rushology has to leap over the wall to keep the life. And over in the duo side is another brawl. Letter to myself. Luckily, way closer to full HP than last game is, where we saw below half HP for the first few minutes. Just some good healthy fighting over there in the duo side, but really, really great play there by Gage and Vectors to pick up Scuzzy there. Scuzzy really kind of tormented Asgard Okami with being able to get away with low health thresholds for the first, I don't know, I think it was like 36 minutes of the game last game number 1. So that has to feel pretty good here. But look at this, Gage putting on a clinic this game. There's another wall. Letter to myself is now in trouble. The wall, great by Might, and there's another kill. 2-0 Asgard Okami. Right before 3 minutes, 12 gauge picks up another and says, I do not like how game number 1 went, and I am going to make this a vengeance streak in game number 2. This man out here just putting on a clinic on Thor, just was not happy about what happened game number 1, and I can't say that I blame him. Rushology looking for the red invade here. I'm not sure he's going to get it. Vectors is on the case. There's a bomb. There's the stun. There's the pickup, and Vectors almost picks up the kill on Rushology. Goes back for his red buff, says it isn't worth it. But Rushology tried to be a little cheeky there and almost paid the price. Now, there it is. I mean, they're just, again, boxing over this duo lane. Letter to myself, already taking an early spill here. And so has Scuzzy. This is a very different game from game number 1. Game number 1, we're about 10 minutes in. The gold difference was like less than 500 gold. There's already more than that in a gold difference in game number 2. And now there's a purple buff invade a little bit here by Letter to myself, looking to try to secure this purple, and does! Oh my god, dude, no way. Letter to myself says, hey, you can kill me, but I'm gonna come back and steal your purple buff. And that is wild. Early back here for Ghostman, goes and picks up the tier 2 instead of waiting it out, and then comes back to lane. So a little bit strange here. I'm actually really surprised to see that back. Usually you just wait for the full Aussie if you're full health, and I guess Ghostman was just worried about a gank coming soon and decided to back off, and I'm just really kind of confused here. But an early lead over here, now inside, was looking for the Gorp and is not going to be able to get it. Great dash to avoid the stun, because Rushology was on the case looking to make a play. Instead, going to have to settle with the Gorp and then just walk away. But 12 gauge is hunting here on this Thor, looking for something. Rushology is already backed, so farm is going to go in favor of 12 gauge going to that bat camp. Not going to look for another gank, as the speed buff is also up. Oh no, 12 gauge just skips that and decides he didn't want that farm. I get it. That's fine. I wouldn't want it either. Stagger those speed buffs. And now it's just kind of a farm simulator going on right now, which is just interesting after game number 1, it just being such a scuffle everywhere on the map. But inside should be approaching a good amount of gold here to back soon and pick up that Aussie. There's the back. Rushology is back over here in duo, looking to make something happen as Scuzzy's on the rotation too. And are they going to look for... I think they're looking for a pick. They want to pull gold probably in the next 3 minutes if they could get that pick, but unfortunately they weren't able to. But difference from last game too is now both supports do have Prophetic Cloak. We do see the Aussie online now for inside. So a little bit ahead of Ghostman in that regard. Ghostman took that early back to get the tier 2. But a full Aussie feels a lot better than tier 2, I assure you that. And we do see again the early tablet for Scuzzy here. Curious to see, does it stack faster than last game? Again, Book of Toth, tablet were both nerfed on Tuesday. So a little bit surprised to see both those items so prioritized still over something else. I don't think they were heavily nerfed, but they were nerfed a good amount here. Inside does have an early lead here in the duo lane, along with Vectors having an early lane in the mid and might having an early lead in the support role, even pretty much everywhere else. But look at this fight over on the mid side. Letter to myself, just out of the mark here. Rushology comes back in, trades it as a 1-for-1, but now Rushology's in trouble. There's no monkey toss, there's no leap, and Diego steps up and just kind of steps on him, puts him down. A 2-for-1 trade there, as Leonard and myself kind of got caught out by Asgard Okami in the middle jungle on the right side. Diego now on the board. That has to feel pretty good. You make the rotation, you're down a little bit of XP, but you got that kill, and that's always a positive here. We do see Iris go ahead and get the Breastplate of Regrowth. If you're not familiar with this item, it's like Breastplate of Valor. A little bit different. If you heal yourself, you get extra movement speed. It makes you go super speedy. You can run people down as long as you have a heal. And Achilles has that. He does have a heal, so he gets to kind of go burr. Inside, just toying with a minion while fighting against Ghostman there. He was trying to find out which was going to take an auto attack first, the minion or Ghostman. Fun fact, it was Ghostman. Ghostman took the auto first. And now, you see backs coming through from Asgard Okami. Hopefully Frosty Nation doesn't pick this out too easily, because I think they could try to make a play if they do. And right now, there's this, they can't decide what they want to do. They don't know, do they want to try to go for this Rama? Do they want to try to do something with this Achilles and the Vamana? And really, it kind of has them in this weird position. They're down about 2,100 gold. So they're trying to find out where they want to push pressure to be able to have some success. And Asgard Okami's really just been doing a good job of zoning them out of any of those attempts. I risk looking to get some damage off here. And Diego, just not fazed by it at all, steps up and goes ahead and clears the wave. Rushology is on the way, but I'm not sure it's going to matter too much. And where is Might? Might just straight up running at Humbats. And decides, nah, I'm going to leave Rushology alone and head back to the mid lane. Everybody's just kind of chill at the moment. Great wall forces up the flicker on Scuzzy. And now it looks like Asgard Okami will be trying to play for this Gold Fury slowly but surely, as the mid camps here will fall in favor of Vectors. But you have 12 gauge over here. You have inside over here. They're going to look to make a play sooner or later. The question is, where are they going to make this play? Are they going to go for Gold Fury? Are they going to look for a pick first? It looks like 12 gauge is going to get this farm, try to control that lead, and then make a play once this team is grouped together. Right now, Rushology, again, down those back camps on the left side too. I imagine Frosty Nation wants to make the play in duo, but they just cannot seem to get to inside at all. And there's a Bastion. Oh, a great Riptide. Might follows it up with a freeze. Now Rushology's in trouble, has to fear no evil. Great beads by 12 gauge. And Might has stepped up. Look at Diego. Diego goes deep, chases under the tower. River's rebuked by Leonard to himself, and this is an all-out fight. There's the execute. It does end up getting the mark. It hits the wall, just like I talked about earlier. And now iRisk is in trouble. The bombs come through. Vector takes down iRisk. And Rushology is on the hunt, looking for a kill on this Humbats. There's no fear, no evil. It's just a leap. It's just monkey toss. It's just straight damage. Can they get it off? 12 gauge is getting pushed out of the fight. Might low. Now 12 gauge going up. He is going to look for something here. Where will he land? He lands right next to everybody. Isn't able to confirm the land, but does get the damage off on Rushology. Meanwhile, on the left side of the map, you have Inside pushing a wave, and Diego teleports back in. This is a scary time for Frosty Nation. Now, Inside is going to get the Bastions down and left. He's going to get waves in left. He's going to get a gold lead and an XP lead. This is not what you want to see out of a Rama, and they lost the fight in mid. That's the other thing to think about. Not only did Inside get to farm up this left side of the map by getting the Bastions down, by getting a couple waves, they didn't win the fight in mid. Frosty Nation just lost that all across the board, and this spirals now to almost... it is a 3,000 gold lead. And this is the time. If Asgard Okami wants to start looking for Gold Fury, this is it. They're going to go for the Oracles here, but it takes one pick to open this up even further. And this is becoming a scary, scary time for Frosty Nation. Like I said earlier, this last game, you know, we're talking about a 500 gold difference maybe at this point. We're talking about 3,000 gold at this point. Asgard Okami is playing this early game drastically different. And so far, Frosty Nation has not had an answer to how they're playing. Inside did step up to Gold Fury there, just seeing, you know, could they make the play? What's it going to do? And now look at this. 12 gauge steps up. Might's there. Ghostman's in trouble. Great freeze. And now the damage needs to come through. Russology gets the monkey. Was that monkey toss or blink in? It was monkey toss in. What a great little toss there by Russology. It's a 3v3 on the left side. It is a level advantage for Asgard Okami. They're looking for a fight here. Scuzzy has stepped up now too. Vectors is here. It's a 4v4 at the Gold Fury pit. And looking for damage is 12 gauge. Rushology eats a ton from inside. Might. There goes 12 gauge up in the air. Who will he go on? Is it going to be Scuzzy? And Scuzzy gets a great beads off. Inside misses all the snipes, but there's a bomb off the mark. They want Scuzzy. There's the Fear No Evil. Scuzzy somehow lives for a second, but now 12 gauge picks up the double kill even though he is dead. And now Might fighting inside the letter to myself. Might just literally making all the plays I talked about in the picks and bans with these walls. Ghostman trying to poke out inside. It's not going to matter. They're going to go for Gold Fury here. They have the numbers advantage by far. They have the damage. And now it's a Gold Fury pool for Asgard Okami. And they're going to extend this gold lead even further. And it has to feel pretty good after a 50-minute game, plus minute game number one. Keep in mind, Diego did make that rotation, so gives up some farm to iRisk, but honestly can pretty much lose that farm without really too much risk at the moment. XP-wise, things have evened out, but gold-wise, not looking so good. I mean, you have Might with like a level and a half lead in support. You have Vectors with a level lead in mid, a level lead in jungle, and a level lead in duo for the carry inside for Asgard Okami. And like I said earlier, the pacing of this game is just different, and Frosty Nation right now has to decide what is their way back in. Is it through mid? Is it through objectives? Can they slow the game down? Because if they can slow it down, then things are going to be fine. They just have to find a way to slow it down. Pick up a pyro. You know, find a way to deal with the aggression that Asgard Okami is putting on the table here. And if they can figure that out, it's going to go well. But right now, there hasn't been a lot of an answer for that, just because of how Asgard Okami's been playing. They've been making sure that the pressure is not just in mid, it's in duo too. It's also in the right side jungle if you decide to step up over there. So just a lot of thought process have to happen here. I do have to say the wards from Frosty Nation are pretty good. And now here's a pyro pool for Asgard Okami. And I don't think Russology is going to let this go for free. He is hovering. And there's the bombs through. The blink in by Russology. There's the Fear No Evil. But can they get something for it? The River's Rebuke is out. It's crashing in. But now here 12 gauge in the air. Puts him down. Russology is the target. He will fall. Scuzzy, who went undying so long in game number one, dies again in game number two. And now Letter to Myself is taken down as well. You're talking a 3-4-0 in favor of Asgard Okami 15 minutes into the game. And this is just absolutely scary. iRisk is stepping up to the lane, minions, but I don't think he can afford that as 12 gauge and Might are here. And you have to ask yourself, can I defend this tower? And the answer is no. No, you can't. And really, I mean, Frosty Nation had a great engage there from Russology. You hit the ult. The Fear No Evil was just an absolute great ultimate. But the damage wasn't there. And then you have 12 gauge re-engage, and at that point, he lands on Russology, puts him down. They get tons of damage on the Scuzzy. They get him, and it just goes completely in their favor because they don't have any more damage to deal with them. iRisk was never in the fight. And this has just been clinical thus far by Asgard Okami. They definitely discussed what went wrong during game number one and made sure it wasn't going to happen in game number two. I mean, this is a complete turnaround just for 12 gauge by himself. Being able to hit the ults and then not have to worry about being silenced out and hasn't been CC'd immediately when he lands is a huge, huge difference for him. And then across the board, Might playing excellent yet again, this time on the Ymir. The walls have been great. The freezes have been great. Vector is huge Agni bombs inside. Again, putting on a really good game on this Rama. Diego, I mean, what do you say? Just running around like a crazy person on this Vamana, just being an absolute distraction while also picking up some kills. They've just put it all together this game. A 7,000 gold lead at 17 minutes. And they're looking for another Gold Fury since it's going to be primal. They want that buff. They want to be able to go to Fire Giant soon. And I imagine they either get a pick or they dance Gold Fury and wait. I do have to say, I do like this build again inside, going with the same type of build, going the Aussie Kins dominance into what's going to be a Silver Branch. Lots of pin, going to eat through the tanks when they want to go like mitigation style builds. Right now, you don't have that fire risk, it's the prots, and it's going to eat through those pretty well. So we do see the mitigation type of build coming out for Diego again. So far, so good. Scuzzy is doing a better job on stacking the tablet this game, so I do have to give him that. We do see an early Divine here for Vectors, which I do appreciate. Again, if you don't know what Divine does, it does anti-heal. And if you hit somebody, every 20 seconds when you hit somebody, it does like an Odibo type of proc, except it does, you know, a good bit more damage than Odibo does. So if you're a mid laner and you're not building that, you should check it out. Good item. Anti-heal is good. Anti-heal, go burr. And keeps your enemies from healing. And that's good. Buy it. Tablet's okay. Divine, really good. Just throwing it out there. It's my TED Talk for the day. If you ever want to learn Smite, because you're new to the game, hit me up. I will help you learn. I will do it. I coach in real life, and I do help coach in-game. Do you see a slowdown here? As Asgard Okami does decide to reset, get their camps down. They got the Gold Fury. And they will probably go for Pyromancer again here. And it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. And I assume after that, they're going to start looking at dancing for this Fire Giant. The problem is they're going to need Inside over here for it. So, you know, once you see Inside rotate, you're going to see the Fire Giants start getting pulled. Pyromancer did get pulled, end up being dropped here, as it is a little bit of an outnumbered fight, as Diego is, you know, running around rocks, having people chase him. You know, typical Vamana things, apparently. As Diego now getting ran at here by Restology and iRisk, and they have to back off because they can't afford to take that fight. 12 gauge getting off a good wall. Not really any damage to follow it up. Another good wall by Might there. And this 4v4 on the right-hand side is turning out pretty good, even though now it's a 4v3. Asgard Okami is going to back up, and they're going to go ahead and pull the Pyromancer yet again as Diego is back. It is now 4v4 again. Pyromancer dropped. Oh, and Letter to Myself could be in trouble. There's the freeze by Might, and the damage is coming through, but who else is in trouble? It's Scuzzy. 12 gauge, boom, lands on him. There's the beads, there's the Aegis, and Scuzzy will fall. Letter to Myself will fall. And guess who else is here? Inside's here. And it's going to be a Pyro and Fire Giant pull slowly but surely. Might just be straight to fire, and it's going to be, as Asgard Okami is looking for the Fire Giant at 20 minutes into the game. iRisk is hovering over here. Ghostman not even going to bother to rotate. It's going to go ahead and go for the split push here. Pick up the tier 1. Not sure if they're going to go for the tier 2 or not. Looks like they may at least get the next wave. Will they go for the next tower? I don't know. There's the Fire Giant dropped. Asgard Okami 5 strong with the Fire Giant buff. They're pinging to go for the Pyromancer. Will they actually step up and go for it? I'm not so sure. Rushology is hovering. Last time when they were over here, Rushology had a great blink with a Fear No Evil. Instead, they're going to just keep hovering here for a second, looking to see if there's something. They don't see Rushology over the Fire Giant pit anymore, so they stop their backs. They go and clear mid. And then they go back to farming. And here it is. I mean, wards on the Pyromancer. On the left-hand side, you have Diego getting a ward out, looking to run at Ghostman if necessary. Ghostman hasn't built into any crit as of yet, and the one thing Jingwei does well is what? Build crit. Inside, deciding to go for Gorp rather than pushing up for tower, waiting for the team to group up. Everybody's still split up for Asgard Okami. I imagine this left side is of discussion. At least getting the tier 1 down before this Gold Fury pull. Inside goes in, drops the purple, and it's going to be a 4-man grouping on top of the Gold Fury that's fixing to spawn. Diego holding off 3 people by themselves. There's the Riptide. 12 gauge steps up, gets a great wall and a hammer combo off. Diego still just standing against all of Frosty Nation, will ult in the big baby and just walk away. And there's the shield as you see it grow. Just an absolute insane shield there. And an easy Gold Fury for Asgard Okami. Some would almost say a clinical, yet surgical way to pull the Gold Fury. And they are going to clear this wave and immediately go for the tier 1. And I'm assuming tier 2 of this left-hand side. The furthest away from Fire Giant is the lane you want to take down if possible. It makes it harder to defend fire. It makes it, you know, harder for you to even think about stepping up to fire if it's down. So there it is. And Letter to Myself has a great Riptide. Is going to end up saving his life with Riptides and River's Rebukes. Asgard Okami will pretty much get that tier 2 for basically free. They did get a ultimate out of it. So, I mean, it's kind of more than free because you got that. And now they're going to step up to a tier 2 in mid with really no fear of Yamoja doing anything too crazy to you besides, you know, healing the team. And these auto attacks from inside are just raining out so quickly. Bombs coming through here for Vectors. And now there's the wall by Might. 12 gauge is up in the air. Who will 12 gauge land on is the question. Russology tried to catch him out. The Fear No Evil only lands on a 1. They catch Russology with the Thor ult, and now look at this. There's the snipes coming through from inside. Hits 1, hits 2, hits 3, but the beads Aegis is good by Scuzzy for a moment. And now Frosty Nation is running away. They have lost their mid laner, but Asgard Okami has lost their jungler in the trade. And now Asgard Okami says, we got 1 tier 2, we got 2, so why don't we go ahead and just pick up the 3rd as well. Might tanks it away, and inside just starts shredding down this tower, and Rushology goes for the blink. Oh no, and everything just goes in favor of Asgard Okami there. And now inside looking to trade versus 3 and just pokes out Ghostman. And they might not get the tier 2 here, but holy, does that feel pretty good to get both the tier 2s down and left and mid. And then also, you know, pick up a couple kills along the way. Fire Giant will be respawning momentarily as Asgard Okami decide to back and probably buy wards and some items. And right now, you do see a huge difference in the teams here. If you just look at the support alone, upgraded starter here from Might already, 25 minutes in the game. And that's not even a thought right now for Letter to Myself, because the gold lead's just so drastically different. And that's not just the case in, you know, in support. It's the case in every role except for jungle. Upgraded starters across the board for Asgard Okami, except for 12 gauge, who decides to itemize other things first. And now the Fire Giant is pulled here by Asgard Okami. And I'm not sure that Frosty Nation's even going to think about stepping up to it right now. I think Rushology thought about it and was like, better not. So they're going to move on. Fire Giant goes down again. It's a 5-man run down the right side as you have Scuzzy and Ghostman pushing down left, looking for the tier 2 on the left-hand side, but they're going to lose their solo laner, it looks like, in midst of all of this. Irisk already had to get rid of the beads and then falls for it anyway, and so does the tier 2. They're not going to be able to push a tier 2. Frosty Nation, both their carries have to back, and now it's a 5v4 for the right side Phoenix for Asgard Okami. Can they do something to take this? Rushology blinks in on top of Diego. Diego Makes it through, and there is a freeze. The beads are off. Letter to himself. Actually, it might have just been Magi's. And instead, there's the... Oh, beautiful, beautiful Phantom Shell there by Might to be able to get out there. And now, again, staying aggressive. Might has a great wall. Rushology comes in with a Fear No Evil, but is dying for the aggression. Might ends up getting picked up there. Inside, 1 snipe, 2 snipes, 3 snipes, no more, but 12 gauge finishes it up, cleans up the kill, picks up Rushology, and now there's a fight over this Phoenix, and Ghostman picks up Vectors, but they're gonna lose the right side bird as they lose 12 gauge as well. Inside decides to dash in and gets up the kill in a 1v3. He has been left to his own devices. Diego is there, but Diego says, I'm not coming back, dog. You're on your own. Hey, why don't you come to this door, though? Can you bait them? Inside is somehow still alive, finally falls as Diego was waiting for someone to run through to try to save his carry, and is not going to be able to. I don't know. I can't even be mad. Like, Inside picks up the kill, but the fact that he lived that long is kind of insane. Holy. Primal Fury is up. I don't think Diego goes for the steal. He probably just lets it go. Oh, here it comes, dude. He's like, nah, I see too many people around this Gold Fury. I must run in. It's more than one person. It's more than two. I have to go there. And Mike comes in with it, goes heads, and pushes off Letter to Myself. And they've actually kept the Gold Fury from going down. Letter to Myself in trouble here. But Ghostman has made the rotation. But where is 12H gonna land? It's on to Ghostman. Goodbye to the Jingwei. And iRisk now in trouble. Asgard Okami steps up, saves the Primal with the help of Might and Diego there. Doesn't lose anybody and picks up a kill along with a Gold Fury along the way. And if you're Frosty Nation, you're in full defense mode at this point. You're looking to try to get a pick at a Phoenix, because that's the way you get back in this game. You have to be able to get picks in a fight and have it go your way. Last time, it worked out, sort of. They did lose their Phoenix, but they did pick up a kill or two off the backside. But really and truly, this is a scary time. Asgard Okami is going to look for this Pyromancer. And if they get that, they have a Runic Bomb. If they have Runic Bomb, that Phoenix is going to drop pretty quick. And I have to make note of this. Inside has bought Toxic Blade, which is not something you ever see a carry build. Because it has no power. It does do anti-heal. It does have Ichabal passive. But it has no power. And it has 10 pin. Like 10 flat pin. You see this built on a lot of AA warriors and AA junglers from time to time. AA warriors more likely. Really surprised to see it here for Inside. Oh my god, great ultimate there from Rushology. They locked down 12 gauge, or so they thought. He's up in the air, he comes back down, crashes onto 3. 3 gets stunned, Risk picks up the kill, but at what cost? Scuzzy is getting chased down, Ghostman is gone, Rushology's gone, Scuzzy's gone, and now it's Risk is next. Risk gets frozen, the beads are good for a second, but if he turns around for too long, he is dead. Inside, trying to hit an auto, and finally hits one after 6, and Letter to Myself will fall. All 5 members are down. It's a deicide in favor of Asgard Okami, and they will run it down to the Titan room and take game number 2 and the set. That was a clinic that time. Yo, Diego wasn't playing 5-0 and 10? Jesus. Asgard Okami played that game really well. They came out with a different pace. Frosty Nation last time like kept it pretty even early, and then kind of came out mid game and was able to play really, really well mid in like the early part of the late game. This game, things just didn't go their way early, and Asgard Okami were able to kind of snowball that into their control, and we see that with the score lines with their builds. I do have to say, I do think Rosology still played really well, was able to get really aggressive, tried to set up some really good ultimates, just wasn't able to get the damage off with the follow-up that he wanted from his team. The Merlin pick obviously wasn't as successful this time. Thilsink Scuzzy played it pretty well. Obviously, he was under a lot more aggression this game than the previous game, so you had to worry about that a bit more. Achilles was pretty good. But I really like the comp here from Asgard Okami. This Agni with the bombs, being able to follow up off the Ymir. The Ymir walls were just, I mean, S tier. And it just overall just fantastic. Inside had a much better game on the Rama this time, 5-1 and 7. Overall, just a really, really clean game by Asgard Okami here. And they put it away. Take the whole entire set for themselves. That's it. Easy peasy. Chat, I am going to reboot Smite because Spectator does funny ha-has to the game. And then I'll be running some games. I think some of the teammates are on to practice for tomorrow, so I'll get that going. And as a reminder, oh yeah, anytime you guys need games casted, feel free to reach out. Like, honestly, and that goes for anybody, chat. If you have games that you want casted, shoot me a DM. It can be on Twitter. It can be on Discord. However you need to do it. You can find me on my Linktree. All my socials are on there. Reach out. I will. If I can get your games casted, I will. If I can't cast them,